It's a miracle that any of us are here at all, and I use that word miracle in the literal sense. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. On April the 13th, 2029, a 370-meter-wide asteroid that's formally known as 99942 Apophis will pass by Earth at a distance of about 19,000 miles. Now, 19,000 miles sounds like a long way away, but in astronomical terms, it's the equivalent of having a bullet whiz by your ear. There are man-made satellites that orbit farther from the Earth. Even scarier, it was initially believed there was a slight chance Apophis could strike the Earth in 2036. That's why when the asteroid and its trajectory were discovered in 2004, scientists named it after the Egyptian god of chaos, who, by the way, is also the villain in the TV series Stargate SG-1. Well, thankfully, that possibility has since been ruled out. Still, as the saying goes, plenty more where that one came from, in particular in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The imminent threat of asteroid-caused destruction was the motivation behind a recent planetary defense conference at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. The purpose of the conference was to discuss, quote, the threat to Earth posed by asteroids and comets and actions that might be taken to deflect a threatening object. While the chances of something the size of Apophis or bigger hitting the Earth are remote, it would only take one to dramatically alter or even destroy human civilization as we know it. Thus, we should be grateful that scientists are taking this potential threat seriously. And yet, all of this underscores how improbable our very existence, never mind human civilization, really is. There's something called the rare earth hypothesis, which holds that intelligent life is the result of improbable astrophysical and geological events and circumstances. Whereas people like Carl Sagan insisted, based on faulty math and even faultier logic, that intelligent life was common in the cosmos, the rare earth hypothesis takes note of all the things that have to go exactly right for us to even exist. For instance, not only does a planet have to be just the right distance from the sun, often called the Goldilocks zone, but its tilt and orbit must be just right too. And its sun must also be just the right distance from the center of its galaxy. Even if the astrophysical requirements are met, there's still geology. The historian Will Durant once wrote that civilization exists at the forbearance of geology, subject to change without notice. For a stark reminder of just how precarious human life and civilization are geologically, just recall that 2004 earthquake and tsunami off the coast of Sumatra that killed more than 200,000 people. And as horrific as that geological event was, it wasn't even the deadliest of my lifetime. In 1976, an earthquake in China killed between 240 and 600,000 people. But still, our response to our persistent existence, despite the precariousness of our condition, shouldn't be fear or alarm. It should be wonder and gratitude that we're here at all. Think of Psalm 8 when considering the moon and the stars prompts the question, what is man that you're mindful of him, the son of man that you care for him? Compared to much of the created order, never mind God, we're fragile, dependent. We're not very powerful. But nevertheless, God's mindful of us, and he cares for us. In the climax to the book of Job, the Lord, speaking out of the whirlwind, yet another natural phenomenon we're powerless against, makes it clear that he's not obligated to speak to us at all. He's the creator. We're the creatures. And yet, he does speak to us. Even more than that, he became one of us. He took on our fragility, our finitude, and our vulnerability. Physicist Freeman Dyson once wrote that the more he examined the universe and the details of its architecture, the more evidence he found that the universe in some sense must have known we were coming. Well, actually, its creator did, and that's why we continue to beat the odds. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.